Hello, and welcome to Blue Moon Industries Container Management Demo. Container management allows distributors complete visibility to all imported items from time of purchase while in transit through actual receiving, all added to your Microsoft Dynamics GP purchase order processing system. With container management, you can maximize your investment in your system by streamlining the entry of container manifests and processing the receipt of all container items in a single window. This allows you to have complete information about purchased items. Let's take a look at container management. In the Container Management Setup window, you have the ability to identify some options as well as your starting numbers. The next manifest number is assigned here, as well as identifying what site ID will be used for the in-transit site. This will be the temporary location of your items when they're received onto the water until they've been received to their final location. You have some options here which include displaying or not displaying warnings when you're opening a receipt that you've already processed a FOB receipt on, using the manifest number as your PO vendor document number, and including a user ID in your receipt batch number. Also, if you need to process dropship manifests, you can identify that here as well. Your container measurement units are also defined, feet and pounds, etc. Your receipt type, whether it's shipment or shipment invoice, is also identified here. Once you've saved the Container Management Setup window, you're ready to enter a manifest. We'll go ahead and go into the Manifest Entry window and look at a few of the other setups here. This window is where all the information for a particular container is entered. By taking the next available manifest number, you can then enter in the container number. You can also identify the forwarder ID, the agent, and the vessel. All important information as you're tracking a container. We'll select one of our vendors here as the forwarder and identify our agent and vessel ID. All of these windows are user definable, and you'll see that you have some information here regarding the agent and also important information here about the vessel. If you have carton information, bill of lading, RFID, all of that information can be entered in here. And as well, you can identify the container type ID. All of these lists are user definable and unlimited. With the container type ID, you identify the payload and the RLV. As the container moves through its process of being packed, put on the water, shipped, received at the port of entry, all of these dates will be entered in and updated by the user along the way. All of the information that's known at the time of putting the container together can be entered in here, or the user can return to this window to update dates along the way. When the original ETA date is entered, a window will appear here to use the ETA date as the promise date for all the purchase order lines that we're about to indicate are on this container. Typically, customers will answer yes here and have the promise date match the ETA date. At this point, all of the items that are intended to be on the container will be entered in here. All of the open purchase orders are available to be selected. There's no requirement that all of the items be from the same vendor or have any other correlation. Often the container contains items from multiple vendors, multiple purchase orders. Once we select a purchase order number, we'll see all available items from that purchase order, and we can mark the items along with their quantities and enter them in as being on the container. The first item we'll enter here is the 256 SD-RAM, and although 124 items are unassigned, we're only expecting 80 on this container. Also with the 400 proc, we're only expecting 12. As you see, when we put the items here as indicating them on the container, you'll see that our number of square feet and also our pounds go up based on the information that we've set up for each one of these items. On our next purchase order, everything that's on the purchase order is intended to be on the container, so we can insert all of them. As you see, this makes us a little bit too full in the container. Now in some companies, they can manage this. In others, this is just a visual indicator, and they've actually been told what's on the container. You may make changes at this point if you're managing the container levels, and you can take items off of the container or change their quantities as needed. Once all the information has been entered in and all of the purchase order and line items have been entered into the container, you can see the totals here, then the container can be saved. The manifest can be printed at any time by using the print window here in the top right hand corner. Let's save our manifest. We'll select it again here and we'll print the edit list. The Open Manifest report will show you, for this particular manifest, all of the items that are expected, and as we move through the process would show us any quantities that have been received and the variance. The ETA dates are also indicated here. As we don't have any receiving yet, all of our date received will be blank. Once we've received confirmation that the goods are on the water and we need to enter in an FOB receipt, we just come right back into the manifest entry window. Here we can indicate that everything has been put on the water and we'll post a receipt into the in-transit site. We'll choose FOB here. This will then give us a visual indicator that the transaction that we have entered in has been created but needs to be posted. Once it's posted, this visual indicator will change. So at this point we will save the manifest. And we'll go to our receiving entry window. Here you can see we have two transactions here, one for each one of our vendors. It will indicate that this is an FOB receipt. You can see that each item is going into the in-transit site ID for the quantities that we have indicated that are on the container. We can view these transactions here, and we can post them using standard Great Plains posting functionality. We'll print the posting journal. This will confirm that everything has been received into the in-transit site, and if at this point an invoice needs to be generated or payment needs to be generated out to that particular vendor, it may be able to be done because all of those transactions have been received. Now if we go back to the manifest, we can see in our manifest that we'll have a little different visual indicator for this particular item. Now we have a green plus sign indicating that the FOB receipts have been posted and these transactions are indeed in the in-transit site. We can also, as we receive more information along the way, enter in information about the actual ship date, and then also any ETA at the port of entry, at the land terminal, etc. Once the items have been received and actually at the dock and you need to move them into their final site, the site indicated on the original purchase order, you would come in here, receive and post the manifest. If the quantity received is different from the quantity that expected, a transaction will be made appropriately to either increase or decrease the quantity appropriately in the site. If the quantity received equals the quantity expected, then you can click the Receive All button, and that will total up your quantity received to match your quantity expected. Any changes can be made here. When the manifest is posted, then all of the items will be transferred out of the in-transit site into the location indicated on the original purchase order. A transfer journal is printed here. On the posting journals, you'll see the transfer from the in-transit site to the PO site, in this case the warehouse. Also, with the manifest posting journal, it will indicate the quantity expected versus received and transferred. Any adjustments or differences between the actual receipt quantity and the quantity expected will be shown here in the quantity adjusted column. In the case of additional quantity received, a receipt number will be indicated to show that additional quantity being received into the final location. There's also a number of inquiries that you can use in order to track information about your items as well as the manifest, and those are located under the Item Manifest window. You can look up the item and see any open manifests or historical manifests, be able to drill down as well. The benefits of container management provides customer service with visibility to item status, streamlines the receiving process, and does provide complete visibility along your supply chain. It also reduces paperwork on the receiving dock. Visit our website to find out more about container management and our other products, and thank you for viewing this demo.